Learn to love yourself, not someday in the future, not when everything is perfect, but right now, exactly as you are. This message is for you, the one who keeps going even when it's hard. The one who gives so much to others but forgets to give the same care to yourself. You have spent years trying to be enough for the world, enough for family, for friends, for expectations that were never clearly spoken but deeply felt. Along the way, you may have learned to measure your worth by achievements, approval, or comparison. But your value was never meant to be earned. It has always been there, quietly waiting for you to recognize it. Loving yourself does not mean being selfish. It means finally understanding that you cannot pour from an empty heart. When you honor your own needs, your boundaries, and your feelings, you become stronger, kinder, and more whole. Self-love is choosing rest when you are tired, speaking gently to yourself when you make mistakes, and allowing yourself to grow without punishment. You are allowed to forgive yourself for the times you didn't know better. You are allowed to release guilt for choices made in survival, not wisdom. Every scar you carry tells a story of endurance, not weakness. Every failure you remember was a lesson shaping the person you are becoming. There will be days when self-love feels easy and days when it feels impossible. On the hard days, love yourself in small ways, breathe deeply, speak one kind sentence to yourself, remind yourself that healing is not a straight line, and progress does not require perfection. Stop waiting to become someone else before you accept yourself. You don't need to be more successful, more confident, or more healed to deserve love. You are worthy now on your best days and on your worst ones. So today, choose yourself. Choose patience over criticism, compassion over comparison, and truth over fear. Look at yourself not through the eyes of judgment, but through the eyes of understanding. You are still learning, you are still growing, and you are more than enough. This is your reminder. You are deserving of the same love you give so freely to others. Start with yourself. You are worthy just as you are, in this very moment. Without changing a single thing about yourself, your worth is not tied to how much you have achieved, how productive you are, or how perfectly you fit into the expectations of others. It does not rise when you succeed, and it does not disappear when you fail. Your value exists simply because you exist. Too often, you have been taught to believe that love and respect must be earned, that you must prove yourself again and again to deserve kindness, acceptance, or peace. But the truth is, you were worthy long before you understood what success or failure even meant. Every part of you matters, even the parts you try to hide. Your doubts, your fears, your insecurities do not make you less valuable. They make you human. The mistakes you replay in your mind are not evidence of weakness, but signs that you are trying, learning, and growing. You did the best you could with what you knew at the time, and that is enough. You do not need to punish yourself for the past to prove that you have changed. Growth does not require self-hatred. It requires understanding. There is no future version of you that is more deserving of love than the person you are today. Waiting to feel worthy only after everything is fixed keeps you trapped in endless self-judgment. Healing begins when you stop treating yourself as a problem that needs to be solved and start treating yourself as a person who needs care. You are allowed to take up space, to have needs, to rest without guilt, and to say no without explanation. When you begin to believe in your worth, the way you speak to yourself changes. You become gentler. You stop comparing your journey to others. You stop shrinking to make people comfortable. You begin to understand that your presence alone has value, that your heart, your effort, and your resilience matter more than perfection ever could. So remind yourself, again and again, that you are not behind, broken, or unlovable. You are here, you are trying, you are becoming, and that is more than enough. Self-love is not selfish. It is necessary. For so long, you may have been Taught that putting yourself first means neglecting others, that caring for your own needs is something to feel guilty about. You learned to give, to adjust, to stay quiet, and to keep going even when you were exhausted. You became skilled at being there for everyone else while slowly disappearing from your own life. But loving yourself does not take love away from others. In fact, it is the very thing that allows you to love others more honestly and more fully. When you ignore your own needs, you don't become stronger, you become drained. You begin to give from a place of emptiness, and over time, that emptiness turns into resentment, burnout, and quiet sadness. Self-love is recognizing that you are human, not unlimited. It is understanding that rest is not laziness, boundaries are not cruelty, and saying no is not rejection. It is choosing to protect your energy so that what you give comes from abundance, not obligation. You are allowed to listen to your body when it asks for rest. You are allowed to honor your emotions instead of pushing them aside to keep the peace. You are allowed to choose yourself even when others don't understand your reasons. Loving yourself means acknowledging that your feelings matter just as much as anyone else's, and your well-being is not optional. Self-love also means letting go of the need to constantly prove your worth through sacrifice. You do not have to suffer to be deserving. You do not have to carry everything alone to be strong. Strength can look like asking for help, taking a break, or walking away from what harms you. It can look like choosing peace over approval and honesty over people-pleasing. When you begin to love yourself, the world may feel unfamiliar at first. Some people may resist the new boundaries you set. But that does not mean you are doing something wrong. It means you are finally doing something right for yourself. You start showing up as your true self, not a version shaped by fear or exhaustion. Remember this: taking care of yourself is not abandoning others, it is honoring the life you were given. When you treat yourself with kindness, patience, and respect, you teach the world how to treat you too. Self-love is not selfish, it is the foundation of a healthy, meaningful life. Forgiving yourself and letting go of the past is one of the most powerful acts of self-love you will ever practice. Many people move forward in life while secretly carrying the weight of old mistakes, regrets, and moments they wish they could erase. You replay conversations in your mind, wondering what you should have said or done differently. You judge your past self with the knowledge you have now, forgetting that at that time you were doing the best you could with what you knew, felt, and had. Holding on to that guilt does not change the past, it only steals peace from the present. Forgiveness does not mean pretending that nothing happened or excusing choices that caused pain. It means understanding the context of who you were then. You were learning, you were surviving, you were responding to circumstances, emotions, and limitations that shaped your decisions. Punishing yourself endlessly does not prove growth. It only keeps you trapped in shame. Growth happens when you acknowledge your mistakes, take responsibility where needed, and then allow yourself to move forward without carrying self-hatred. Letting go of the past does not mean forgetting it. It means no longer allowing it to define you. Your past is a chapter, not the entire story. Every experience, even the painful ones, taught you something about yourself, your boundaries, and your strength. The fact that you feel regret today is proof that you have grown. A person who has not evolved does not reflect, they repeat. You are reflecting, and that alone shows change. You deserve the same compassion you offer others. If someone you loved came to you with the same mistakes and regrets you carry, you would not destroy them with blame. You would listen, understand, and encourage them to heal. Give yourself that same grace. Speak to yourself with kindness instead of cruelty. Replace harsh self-talk with understanding and patience. There is freedom in choosing to release what no longer serves you. Carrying old pain does not make you loyal to your past, it keeps you disconnected from your future. You cannot become who you are meant to be while constantly looking backward. Healing begins when you decide that your life is worth more than endless self-punishment. So take a deep breath and allow yourself to forgive, not because you were perfect, but because you are human. Let go of the version of yourself that no longer exists and honor the person you are becoming. The past has shaped you, but it does not control you. You are allowed to move on lighter, wiser, and free. Growth takes time, not perfection, and this is something you need to remind yourself of again and again. You live in a world that celebrates quick results and flawless success. So it's easy to believe that if you're not moving fast enough or doing everything right, you are failing. But real growth does not happen in dramatic leaps. It happens quietly, slowly, in small moments that often go unnoticed. It happens when you show up on hard days, when you try again after disappointment, and when you keep going even while doubting yourself. You are not meant to have everything figured out at once. Learning, healing, and becoming a better version of yourself is a lifelong process, not a deadline you must race toward. Expecting perfection only creates pressure, fear, and constant self-criticism. It makes you afraid to start, afraid to make mistakes, and afraid to be seen as you are. But mistakes are not signs that you are doing something wrong. They are proof that you are learning. Every stumble teaches you something that success alone never could. Growth is messy. Some days you will feel confident and hopeful, and other days you may feel stuck or unsure. This does not mean you are going backward. Progress is not a straight line. There will be pauses, setbacks, and moments where nothing seems to change, even though important work is happening beneath the surface. Just like seeds grow underground before they ever break through the soil. Much of your growth happens in silence. Be patient with yourself as you evolve. You are unlearning habits, beliefs, and patterns that may have taken years to form. That kind of change requires compassion, not harsh judgment. When you rush yourself or demand perfection, you rob yourself of the joy and wisdom that come from the journey. Growth should not feel like punishment, it should feel like permission to become. You do not need to compare your timeline to anyone else's. Everyone's path is shaped by different experiences, challenges, and opportunities. Moving slowly does not mean you are weak, it often means you are being careful, thoughtful, and honest with yourself. Even small steps forward matter more than standing still out of fear of imperfection. So allow yourself to grow at your own pace. Celebrate progress, no matter how small it feels. Trust that consistency matters more than speed, and effort matters more than flawless results. You are not behind, you are becoming. And as long as you are willing to keep learning and trying, you are exactly where you need to be. Choosing yourself every day is a quiet decision, but it is one of the most powerful choices you can make. It does not always look dramatic or bold. Often, it shows up in small moments, in the way you speak to yourself, the boundaries you protect, and the courage you gather to honor what feels right for you. Choosing yourself means deciding that your life, your peace, and your well-being matter, even when the world pressures you to put yourself last. For many people, choosing others has become a habit. You prioritize their comfort, their happiness, and their expectations, sometimes at the cost of your own. Over time, this can leave you feeling invisible, exhausted, and disconnected from who you truly are. Choosing yourself is not about rejecting others. It is about no longer rejecting yourself. It is recognizing that you cannot keep abandoning your needs without losing a part of your spirit. Choosing yourself every day means listening to your inner voice. Even when it whispers instead of shouts, it means paying attention to what drains you and what restores you, then giving yourself permission to choose what brings peace. Some days, choosing yourself looks like rest instead of productivity. Other days, It looks like honesty instead of silence, or courage instead of comfort. It is not always easy, but it is always necessary. This choice also means accepting that not everyone will understand your decisions. When you stop overgiving, stop people-pleasing, or stop shrinking, some relationships may change. That can be uncomfortable and even painful, but choosing yourself teaches you that approval is not more important than self-respect. You are allowed to grow. Even if it means outgrowing certain expectations or connections, choosing yourself is a daily practice, not a one-time promise. There will be moments when you slip back into old patterns, when guilt creeps in, or when doubt makes you question your worth. On those days, choosing yourself simply means trying again. It means forgiving yourself and recommitting to your own care and truth. Over time, these small daily choices begin to reshape your life. You become more confident in your decisions. You trust yourself more deeply. You feel lighter because you are no longer constantly fighting your own needs. Choosing yourself teaches you that you are responsible for your happiness, and that responsibility is not a burden, it is freedom. So today and every day after, choose yourself with kindness. Choose yourself without apology. You are not asking for too much. You are asking for what you deserve, and that choice, repeated daily, has the power to change everything.